Right, so we have a full moon. It's in Aries and it's on Wednesday the 20th of October 2021. It's at 15:56 and that's Greenwich Mean Time. So that's UK time. So if you're anywhere else in the world, you'll need to adjust those times accordingly to your destination. So it is the start of a new lunar cycle. So we are at the beginning of a whole new cycle here. So if you haven't used full moons before and worked with the energy, it's a great time to start, because if you start now, you can work through the next 12-month cycle and see how you progress. So the energy is very, very much about forgiveness. It's about rebirth, so the rebirth within ourselves, and realities, struggles, and forgiveness. Now it's interesting because we've just moved out of Mercury retrograde, and I feel that many of my readings over the last couple of weeks have been very much about relationships, about kind of old cycles, acceptance, forgiveness, playing out old karma. And I do feel that this start of this new lunar cycle is we've moved out of that retrograde, but we're still very much working on what we need to forgive and accept in order to move forward throughout this next 12-month cycle. So we always look at our forgiveness when we are in a full moon, because full moons is all about completions. New moons is about the start, and full moon is about what we want to complete. So I want to look at some of the aspects of this full moon in Aries. It's very fiery, and it's a very fiery energy. It's very rash, and we need to look at some elements of how we've been behaving. So have we been too hot-headed or selfish or argumentative? Have we kind of been behaving in a way that maybe hasn't been serving us well, hasn't been working very well for our relationships either? And where can we look at those aspects and change? We also need to be looking at whether we've been a bit too impulsive. And this can be in relationships, but it can also be in our everyday life, in our career as well. Have there been things that we've been wanting so much that we've been very impulsive in how we've been dealing with it? And, you know, we've kind of maybe been stepping over other people's toes, or in situations where we've not let things manifest naturally and we've tried to push forward. And sometimes when we do this, we actually end up falling backwards. So it's important to look at that. We want to look at whether we've been a bit too competitive, and that's what I was saying about trying to move forward and push others out of the way in order to be competitive. It's really, really important to get that, you know, we have to look at our ego and what we're doing for the highest good of all. And it's very, very important to get that balance right. And we also want to look at whether we've been ignoring other people's sensitivities. And I said that about, you know, looking at relationships and karmic cycles and where things are maybe playing out that we need to work on. And have you been having enough fun? Because this is the start of a new lunar cycle, and it's all about kind of having fun. You know, we're going into that Halloween season, we've got fireworks coming, and so I want you to look at where you need to have a bit more fun. And it doesn't even necessarily have to be about going out and experiencing situations, but having fun at home, watching a funny film, doing something that makes you laugh, being, you know, going with that inner child and doing things that bring back the child within you. And that could just be playing with your children. It's just something that, you know, makes you feel joyful and fun again, you know, telling a joke or something like that. So we want to look at this energy to know that it's not a race or a competition. So we're at the start of this lunar cycle, and it's all about, you know, doing things slowly and methodically. You know, a tortoise takes its time, but it gets there to the finishing line in the end. And so we want to look at where we may be trying to race ahead too quickly. And by doing that, we're maybe not looking at the finer details. We're maybe racing so far ahead that actually, in the long run, we're not going to be as successful. So it's incredibly important. And remember, there's always lessons to be learned when we go through the patience, and when we go through things slowly and methodically. There's always things that we're learning along the way. You know, often people will say that the outcome is what we learn, but actually we learn all along the journey. There's so many experiences I've been through, and I've actually learned so much more on the journey than when I've actually got to that finishing line. And so we want to look at obviously the forgiveness. So that, you know, there's a ceremony we can do where we can write down what we need to forgive, what it is that we need to forgive. And you know, sometimes it can be hard to forgive, but we can accept. So it's not necessarily always about forgiving, but it's about accepting what's happened in order to move forward and let go, to move into this next phase of this moon cycle. So I want you to write down all the things that you can either forgive or accept within yourself or within other situations that maybe have been quite testing for you, maybe have been hurtful, maybe have had to make you very resilient and strong. But what have you learned from it? How can you move forward with it? So write all that down, because this will really allow you to let go of it. And then I want you to ask the goddess Kali, Kali, to actually destroy all of that and let go of it. So I'm going to ask you to write a list down, and then I'm going to ask you, you know, it's really, really good to play music actually when you do this, maybe some meditation music or some kind of yoga or just a relaxation music, because it will really raise that vibration. But what I want you to do, as you're listening to that music, I want you to write it down, and you can chant as well. And I want you to also ask the Ganesha goddess Ganesha, to remove any obstacles that are not allowing you to move on and forgive and accept, because sometimes there's things within ourselves that are restricting us from letting go and moving forward. So ask her to remove all obstacles, and then ask Kali, goddess Kali, to destroy. And then I want you to burn that piece of paper. It's somewhere safe, either over the sink, nowhere near fire alarms, or outside in the garden, somewhere safe, okay? And then you're going to just release it and let go of it. And then you can look up to the moon and just ask the moon to take that energy, to completely release it from you, okay? It's very, very important. It's also important to be grateful, because, you know, sometimes when we're racing ahead, we forget to look at the bigger picture, and this happens within healing as well. When we're wanting to heal areas of our life, we look at all the things that aren't going well for us and all the things that, you know, why is this not working, why is it always me, and we forget about all those elements that have gone well. And so it's really, really important to be grateful and to look at the last cycle and where things have gone well, where you've maybe had things that you could be have gratitude for, okay? So that's incredibly important, because that raises our vibration as well, and it helps us move into that energy of manifestation. Okay, so that's really, really important. I'm just checking if I've missed anything. There is some questions that we can look at over this full moon. You know, we want to look at whether you understand that forgiveness doesn't make what happened, you know, make what happened acceptable. Like, you know, what I'm trying to say here is that some things are really so unforgiving that it can be really, really hard to forgive. But we can allow ourselves to accept, and that's what I was saying to you. It's in order for you to move forward rather than anyone else. You know, in some situations, the other person might not even be aware that you're even bothered by this anymore. But this is about you. It's about allowing yourself to move forward and be free. So it will make you lighter, it will make you happy, and it will really, really help you to heal. I can't begin to tell you how many clients I have that have situations where if they were to just let go of the old and let go of all those things that are eating away at them, then all these doors would open for them, but they aren't allowing to let go. So this is very, very important, okay? I want you to understand that holding on to anger only harms you, and it can eat away at you, and it can also create a hell of a lot of emotional, mental and physical problems. You know, every single physical issue we have is a catalyst from something emotional that has triggered it, from an anger or a trauma or an emotion. So remember that when you're releasing this is going to really, really help you to move forward, and you may even find that some ailments start disappearing, okay? And I want you to look at, are you willing to forgive the people who have hurt you the most? And if you're not, why not? You need to really go deep within your shadows and look at why you're not allowing them to forgive. Is it that you still haven't got over that situation? Is it that there's something deep within you and it's a reflection of yourself? But you need to really look at that and work on that in order to move forward to this. Like, you are the person here that has to do this, okay? And you can contact me if you need a little bit of help on this, but I really feel it's up to you in order to move forward, to let go of this, okay? So I think that is everything. We can also put our crystals out to charge on the full moon. Great time to cleanse and energy work on our crystals. I'm going to do a separate moon water video because that's really, really beneficial. And it's a great time to meditate either under the full moon or you can use some meditation full moon videos, cleanse the home, get rid of all that negative energy, and that helps us let go and forgive as well. When we declutter, when we let go of old objects in the home that are related to people that we no longer have or want to release, and also having baths, salt water, Himalayan baths, cleansing that energy with aromatherapies. So I hope that you enjoyed this full moon video. Please do contact me if you have any questions, and please do share and like with your friends. Thank you so much. Happy full moon.